Okay. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Tiverton Town Council, Monday, March 9th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk.
Councilor Chabot.
Present.
Councilor Burke.
Present.
Councilor Janik.
Present.
Councilor DiMederos.
Present.
Councilor Edwards.
Present.
Councilor Paul.
Present.
Councilor Perry. Present. All present.
Thank you. All right, so first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Councilor Burke would like to pull off 4A3. Would any other councilors like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'd like to entertain a motion. Councilor Chabot.
Let's see. 4C3.
Okay. 4C3, Councilor Janik.
I have a bunch of them. 4D1, 4D2, 4D5, 4D8, 9, and 11.
John,
1, 2, 5, 8, 9, 11.
Councilor DiMederos.
I just want to look at it because she's pulled almost everything I wanted, so I want to make sure I didn't miss one. No, that's it.
Okay. Any other members of the council? If not, Councilor Perry has a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda minus 4A3, C3, D1, 2, 5, 8, 9, 11.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Councilor Burke.
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked this one to be pulled off because, and I understand that the written minutes are a summary of what's been discussed, but I believe, and I look back at the video, the section that, under general business, 4A, after the description of the purpose of the meeting, the section attributed to me, I don't believe truly recognizes the intent that I had and what I said in that meeting, because I said very early on that I gave kudos to the DPW Director and his staff. I did recognize, like others, that we've received positive feedback and negative feedback, and there was that on Facebook, and then I did ask questions about the reasoning behind not having to declare a state of emergency and whether or not we should look at in the future using casino funds. So I'm going to make a motion that we send this back to the clerk for revisions to more accurately reflect what was stated in that meeting.
So if that's the case, Councilor Burke, I'd just like to entertain a motion to continue 4A3 to the following meeting.
That's fine.
Okay, so Councilor Burke will make that motion. Do I have a second? All right, motion been made and seconded. All in favor? Okay, thank you.
If Councilor Burke could submit his changes,
Yes.
I'd appreciate it.
I think if you look at the video, you'll see it. I should not have to submit my changes. I think if you look at the video, and I'll look at what you say, but I think if you look at the video, you'll see the difference between what I said and what is here.
Okay.
Okay, 4C3, Councilor Chabot.
Transcription.
I just want to make a point and take a look at the annual report that came from Tiverton Planning Board. It's a little disturbing to me, and I think we have to figure out the reason why and what's happening there. So in the past year, we have seen, if I counted correctly, including Mr. Gerlach, 6 vacancies on this board. For one reason or the other, I'm not 100% sure on why people left. I personally think this is one of the most important boards in Tiverton, probably one of the most powerful boards in Tiverton. I just want to try to figure out why we have all these vacancies and if there's something else that we need to take a look at. A little later on in the agenda tonight, there is 2 people who applied. I think I want to try to slow that process down on that point when we get to it and come up with some criteria on how we appoint people to the planning board, or come up with some, I like to have the planner involved, the town administrator involved, the chair of the plan involved. And to me, we have too many vacancies over the last year, 6 vacancies. There's something, I can't put my finger on it, but there's something. And it's a very, very important board. So before we rush into something tonight, I'd like to take a look at it, or have at least the chair and the planning take a look at it with the administrator. And I'll be honest, I feel as though I've already made one mistake, and I don't want to do it again. I don't want to make a second mistake on appointing people to this very important board.
Councilor DiMedeiros, then
I al-
Councilor Janik.
I also think we probably should have the attorney involved too, because he knows the criteria.
It's good for me.
Okay.
Councilor Janik.
I totally agree with you. I just want to say the planning board is, it's a moving, very, very intense board. And I think some of the people who left, it was because of personal work-related, not so much because of the planning board itself. So I think there's a mixture of reasons that people have changed. But when you look at everything that they've done over the last year, there's a lot going on. And I agree with you. I think that we really need to look at it and have them more involved in taking on new members, because we appoint and they receive these members, so I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, I spoke with the chair, in all fairness, and she asked to be involved, being new on the chair, to come up with something that gives us some criteria on how we appoint, or, so I just wanted to bring that up, so.
I was going to pull this off already.
Mr. President?
You did.
Councilor Perry.
Yes, thank you. I also agree with my colleagues have said, and I have a charter change coming in on March 21st, I believe it is, to decrease the planning board from a 9-member board to a 7-member board. And I think that would help the situation that we're in. So maybe we could hold off these appointments until then. I don't know. But I will be putting that in. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Perry. Any further discussion on C3? If not, I'd like to move on to the first of Councilor Janik's, D1. Councilor Janik. Feel free to roll in
Okay.
succession.
Thank you. So number 1, D1, is a resolution from the town of Portsmouth. It's a resolution of the Portsmouth Town Council in support of municipalities collaborating in reviewing, analyzing, and responding to the 2025 affordable housing laws. There's also one, D8 from Hopkinton, which is the same thing. So I did pull them off, but they are the same resolution. This is to pull together towns in Rhode Island to work collaboratively at the state level to get our state legislators to understand the importance of providing some kind of control at the town level, because the state has been bringing out these laws. They're changing every year. We don't have a chance to even vet them, and they're changing them and upgrading them to increase the housing that is being built in town. So this would kind of pull us all together. I also point you to the letter number 9 from Sandra Van Hoff, which talks about the same issues. And she is one person in our town I've received letters from asking us to kind of band together to work together with other states. So I'm asking that the Tiverton Town Council will have a resolution this
Councilor
year.
Janik?
Yes.
I signed this before the snowstorm. We
Yeah.
voted
You
on it.
signed this already?
Yes, we voted before, at the last
Somebody else
meeting.
brought it in, a
Yeah.
different town brought it in first.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're already on it.
We're on mind meld, John. That's
Yeah.
a scary thing. Okay. So we're all set with that.
Is it fair to say we can cross off
We can cross that one off?
1, 8, and 9?
We can cross
Okay.
off 1, 8, 9. We will go to number 2. This is resolution requesting continued funding of the Rhoderestore program in the state budget. This is something from Portsmouth, and they're trying to get all 39 municipalities within the state of Rhode Island eligible to participate in the program, which provides a state funding match for municipal road, sidewalk, and bridge projects. And I ask that we adopt this resolution also for the town of Tiverton. You didn't do this one, did you?
We did not yet. All right, so we'll get that on the next meeting agenda. Keep it going there, Counselor Janik. D5.
Town of Burrillville. This is a letter in support of Blue Ribbon Commission's report, Equalizing Opportunity, Creating a Fair and Transparent Funding System for Rhode Island's Public Schools. It does talk about having the money follow the student. We talked about it when we had some of our state reps here, when we talked about the money does follow the CTE programs, but it doesn't follow the kids with special needs. So if we have a child in Warwick who has special needs, they get the funding, and the kid moves to Tiverton, we don't have the funding, but we still have to provide the services. So I would like for Tiverton to hop on this also and support the Blue Ribbon Commission report.
Counselor Janik, just if I might add, along these lines, I like the idea of dollars following the kid, the student, but I think mechanically speaking, it would probably be better if all the bills were just sent to the state. Like that would, I think from an operational standpoint, so if you have a student that has special needs and needs special services, if the state maintained one pile of money rather than, we're gonna reimburse, Burrillville for somebody who was there last year as though they were there the full year, and then pick Tiverton up the following year, if the state was the ones who just held the pot of money, that would probably be easier, but.
However they want to do it at the state, this is how it was written in here, just so that we don't lose as kids move in and out of districts, and they do.
Yeah.
That does happen.
And all it takes is one student to destroy the
That's
school
all it
budget.
takes, is one student. So
Okay.
you have foster families who move and they have 3 and 4 kids, and out those dollars go and they get dumped onto the next town,
That may not be the case in foster care, but that's a bigger issue to talk about.
right?
Hey,
Okay, and the last one,
Okay.
my last one is just the letter from Susan Anderson about the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions. I've introduced it at the council, and it was requested that we have people from the state do some kind of a training. They did do a training. Council members were not available to attend it. It was taped. It can be watched. I have talked to the planner about this, and I'm probably going to pursue it with Mr. Spencer and see what we can do from that venue, just so you know. So as an FYI.
Fantastic. All right, so with that, I'd like to accept the motion to accept C3, D1, D2, D5, D8, D9, and D11. Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Janik and Counselor Comito. Oh, I heard you, yeah. All in favor? Okay. Next item on the agenda is public comment. We do have a number of these. First on the list is Eileen Costa. Ms. Costa, are you here? If it's all right with you, because this is an item on the agenda, would you be willing to hold your comments until that, and I'll just take that item out of order? So,
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
never mind, come on up. And if you, just please state your name and address for the record, and if you could do your best to just keep the remarks under 3 minutes, that'd be fantastic.
This is her here.
Eileen Costa, 113 Stone Church Road. I am an appointed member of the Tiverton Historical Cemeteries Commission. I'm the Preservation and Restoration Coordinator for that commission, and I'm also newly appointed member of the Rhode Island Historic Cemeteries Commission. I'm a very nervous person speaking in front of people. I apologize for
You're
You're
doing
doing
great.
great, keep it going.
You're
I'm
doing
used to
great.
speaking to dead people.
You get another 30 seconds for that.
Nobody talks back. So I'm here tonight to present our opinions, and I did this very quickly because I only just found out about it, for the Historical Cemeteries Commission regarding the discussion related to the potential ordinance to permit family burial plots. We fully understand wanting to have your family close to you or wanting to be buried in the land that you cherish. From our experiences restoring our historical cemeteries, what seems like a good idea now will one day be a lost memorial to your loved ones. As much as we have only begun saving America's graveyards here in Tiverton, we also know that without the support and help of the younger generations right now, the same will happen to new family plots should they be allowed. Properties rarely are owned past the second generation now in the 21st century. Every day we walk into cemeteries with headstones and footstones, as was the practice up until the later 1800s, that have been tossed aside, vandalized, completely buried underground, leaning against trees or walls with no indication of where their burial plot really is. No one visits, no one cuts the grass or removes the overgrowth, no one cares. The family has moved on to other areas, and the family connection is lost. We've been denied access to cemeteries by property owners, even when the deed says the right to pass and repass to the cemetery. Developers have bulldozed over cemeteries, buried headstones. Rather than asking for permission, they ask for forgiveness. They are lost. Property owners have tossed aside headstones to make driveways. We know of family members that continue to visit a family member's burial with a visible headstone and place flowers there into the 1960s, yet in recordings it says some of the bodies were removed to Pecasset Hill in the 1940s. As time passed, it was used by a neighbor as a dumping ground for yard waste. There are no visible headstones now and none can be found, but it's entirely possible some of the bodies are still there. It is still hallowed ground. And imagine if this happened at Pecasset Hill with your family, you would be mortified. There's a family cemetery that was allowed recently that has one headstone now, but has room for many more. It is not walled in. There's also an historical cemetery next to it that I've asked the neighbors to keep clear for us, and in return, I'll keep their family headstone cleaned and in good condition with approved materials that we use to restore headstones, which I've done. That cemetery was overgrown with weeds all last year. When Stafford Road was improved, the cemetery there was larger and went into where the roadway is now. It was said that some of the bodies were moved to a cemetery in Fall River and some were left. The headstones and one footstone are lined up in a row. Now we'll never know where they belong, but we honor them anyway. The rural cemetery movement began as a history of burial reform in America, specifically here in the Northeast, where we have burials as early as the 17th century. We buried our commoners in the town square or in open churchyards, which became congested due to epidemics. Those farther away from the center of town buried their own on their farms in open areas, mostly without fences or stone walls. Those were not needed at the time because it was too cumbersome to visit their dead if they were buried in the town square or the churchyard. This area in Rhode Island and southeastern Mass in particular have more family or farm cemeteries from the late 18th to early 19th century than the rest of New England. Because their cemeteries were not taken care of, they rejected the haphazard arrangement of burials and grave markers in older church cemeteries and burying grounds, and so burial reform began. Modern urban cemeteries began with the Mount Auburn Cemetery in Cambridge in 1831. And that's more like a park-like cemetery with corridors to promenade, as they used to say. In the urban cemeteries, the money and care devoted to the design and upkeep, the type of monuments erected within its boundaries and liberal space transformed Mount Auburn into a national pride. And there began our way of burying and honoring our dead in a civilized society. We believe it's best not to allow family plots on private property because properties become sold, subdivided, and developed all too often. Families leave the upkeep to others, and they become an eyesore for the neighbors. We believe this family cemetery will eventually become lost to time, as so many others. I think the town council should look to the Charlestown ordinance as the best example. if you need an example to make your own. And please ask for our input when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Ron Marsh. Mr. Marsh.
Ron Marsh, 48-4 Rod Way. That's not 8 Rod Way. Okay, I'd like to talk trash with you tonight. I promise that won't be my language, but it is my topic. Here's my whole point in a sentence. If Tiverton changes to the barrel system as proposed, we're going to have hundreds of residents asked to perform what is for them a nearly impossible task, wheeling 90-gallon barrels to the curb. Let me explain. I'm familiar with the large barrels with plastic wheels because I have friends in another town who are disabled, and I help them by pushing their 2 barrels down to the end of the driveway. It's no big deal. It's 60 feet down to the street and then back up when the barrels are collected. The system is clearly designed for suburban neighborhoods with small lots and short driveways. I'm going to assume that most of you folks on the council live in neighborhoods like that. I'm going to also assume that you are not among the town residents who would be hugely inconvenienced. In contrast, Tiverton has large areas of town that are rural, some on private roads that are not paved, and where the trash trucks never drive. It's not just a quick, easy push down to the main road. Let me tell you about one. I live in Bliss Homestead, which is a 10-home development on the north side of East Road, just about a mile from Four Corners. The surface of our road is sloped and it's made of packed dirt. In seven of our homes live seniors. Now, the average distance of our 10 homes is just over a quarter mile to East Road, where the trucks stop. 6 of our homes sit more than a quarter mile distance. One resident of our homeowners association would need to push their barrels 4/10 of a mile to the collection point at East Road. Please give us some kind of system that provides residents with us with containers that fit in a car. Let me repeat what I said at the beginning. If Tiverton changes to the barrel system as proposed, we're going to have hundreds of residents asked to perform what for them is a nearly impossible task, wheeling 90-gallon barrels to the curb every single week. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on to the next one, I do want to make a point here because we've obviously seen stuff written on the internet, in the Secana Times. There are statements being made as though something has already been decided upon. For instance, as Mr. Marsh mentioned, the size of the barrels. Not once has this council had the opportunity to have a discussion on whether or not we want to go to the barrel size, whether or not, if we do go to the barrel size, what size barrels would we select? Could be 35 gallons, could be 65 gallons, could be the 85-gallon barrels. There are a myriad of options. And as I mentioned at the last meeting, I think it's premature for us, and I personally take offense when it sounds like words are being put into my mouth. So, next up is Marty Quinn. Same topic. And just name and address for the record, please, sir.
Hello, Marty Quinn. I live at 1129 Stafford Road. As this gentleman here said, I live at way down the driveway. So when I take the garbage out, right now I put the bag inside of a wheelbarrow. I take my dog out, we take a walk down to the end, and on the way back, sometimes I'm like, I'll make it back, I'm hoping. My wife helps me at times, but she has very bad legs, so at times she can't. Talking about the barrels, I think all the barrels that you're talking about, sir, I don't know if any of them would fit inside a car. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, matters what kind of car you have. Along with having the other stuff that we bring down there, the disposables. that's another thing to carry down. So if you're pushing the barrel down and it's a long way to go down, you're doing it by yourself, you're gonna push that down and then have to come back and get the other one and bring that back, or bring both down like this. That's a little crazy. Looking at everybody here in the council, just quick, I'd say like 50-50, 50% of you look like you would have no problem doing it. 50% probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
What's 50%? Just curious here.
I just wanted to reiterate that, and also if there's a cost involved in it.
It's gonna be that half.
If it's the same, if it's a extra cost that we have to pay, and if you lose the barrel itself, do you have to buy a new barrel? I would imagine yes would be the answer to that. Right now, we buy bags, and me and my wife figured it out to about $80 a year. I'd say average would be $80 to $100, $120 a year would be average what people are paying now. I've heard costs, and I don't even want to say, because as this gentleman said, there's all kinds of things out there, but I've heard costs that were a lot higher. And I've also heard that other people don't necessarily have as much trash, so they don't empty as much. So for them, it might be $40, $60 a year that they pay for it, as opposed to the cost that I don't even want to say, because I'm not sure, but the cost that it could be. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Sanford Mantell, I'd like to speak about low and moderate housing legislation. Mr. Mantell, name and address for the record, please, sir.
Pardon me, I'm still recovering from a cold.
Hope you get better soon, sir.
Well, it's only been a month. Okay, Sanford Mantell, 80 Budway, Tiverton. I want to talk about Tiverton's loss of local control regarding low and moderate income housing, and also the difficulties we're going to incur as we on our way to reaching the 10% floor. The elimination of the required findings for denial is a key piece of legislation that was enacted last year. In my viewpoint, it's the final piece of legislation that closes the door on local control, period. Period. There's no argument. What's really funny, I did a little research, and as Councilor Janik mentioned just before, the legislation each year that's put together by the Speaker sometimes is contradictory and confusing. And so I went back to 2023. The Speaker put together 14 pieces of legislation, and he was really contradictory in what he said. He said, nothing in this package forces communities to build more affordable housing, and none of the legislation circumvents local decision-making. He also said, nothing will prevent a city or town from denying an affordable housing project except their own conscience. Obviously, he misspoke. So, fast forward to 2025, obviously things changed because House Bill 5801, Substitute A, I hope I got that right, was introduced, the beginning of February, was passed, and at the time, when that bill was being submitted, we had a meeting here on March 10th. There were 2 reps and 2 senators. They talked about all the aspects of the law that we could utilize to prevent development. They talked about legislation they presented. They talked about what they were going to present. Everything they talked about and everything in the legislation currently deals with housing at the edges. The impact of all these pieces of legislation is minimal. The only way to restore local control is to, as the resolution, I think it was resolution 1 by the council, required findings for denial has to be put back. Everything else that they propose is meaningless, really meaningless. They just, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to limit parking to this, we're going to do this. Meaningless, meaningless, okay? That's all I'm going to say about it. And by the way, the legislation they proposed last year, let me know if you heard this before, all the bills were recommended for further study. None of them, okay? Second, The second topic is the 10% inventory level that we have to achieve. I thought it was 5801. Maybe I'm wrong. House H 5801 from 2025? Last year, sorry. My fault. I'll try and speed this up if I can. We're going to have to reach a 10% inventory level to get back to some sort of control. I did a little calculation. You're going to have to build 2,000 housing units to get to that. Mathematically, right now, it's almost impossible. You got to build 2,000. I got the spreadsheet. I can give you a copy of it. What that means, there's going to be over 25% increase in housing in Tiverton. And what that does to Tiverton, if the occupants of these homes, if their demographics are the same as existing demographics, you're going to have to educate another 400 students, maybe even more, probably more. And it's also going to increase any other town resources. The expenses are going to be astronomical. But here's a funny thing. We already meet the 10%. Yes, we do. There's an organization called Housing Works Rhode Island. They did a study of all these cities and towns in Rhode Island. I printed the report for Tiverton. Tiverton has 2,180 low and moderate income households. But we can't count them because there are restrictions on how you define low and moderate income housing. If you go to Rhode Island Housing, which is the organization, I think it's a quasi-public organization, I don't know what they are, but anyway, they do the counting as far as inventory. I went to their website. I love this word they used. Under Rhode Island's Low and Moderate Income Housing Act, municipalities are incentivized, love that word, to achieve the goal of having 10% of the year-round housing qualify as low or moderate income. Generally, housing must meet the following: production or rehabilitation subsidized by a federal, state, or municipal government. Income restricted to 80%. For renters, 124 homeowners. Deed restricted. The second piece of legislation that has to be enacted, how we count low and moderate income housing has to be changed. Those are the only two things. Anything else that is proposed by any legislator, senator, meaningless. I'm sorry I've got to say that, but that's what it is. They're meaningless. So I'm not recommending, but you got to restore local control by restoring required findings for denial, and you got to change the way we count low and moderate income housing. Nothing else is acceptable. Whoops, there goes the water.
Hopefully the cap was on.
Okay, pardon?
I said hopefully the cap was on.
Okay, yeah, cap was on.
All right.
Cap was on. That's it, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. All right, Deborah DuPont. And name and address for the record, please.
Deborah DuPont, 359 Hooper Street, Tiverton. I'm here to talk about the trash barrels. And John, you said that we didn't talk about the size, but we were told before that we could go to the senior center or there'd be one at Town Hall. And they were the huge barrels. I have one for my own, and if it tips over in the wind, I cannot pick it back up because the flap flips over. I have to get my husband to pick it up. And granted you, mine is close to the road, so I don't have a problem wheeling it out. But in the snow, I couldn't even get it out, never mind. In 2000, and don't mind my voice, I'm a little bit nervous.
No, you're doing a great job.
In 2011, the town started the pay-as-you-throw program, so we wouldn't have to float a bond to close the dump. The program was generating way over what was estimated that the town council stopped putting in the amount of money that the state mandated that we had to put aside for the dump closure. After 1 month, PA did revenue projection, and it was projected that we would bring in $459,584. And the amount going into the dump had dropped by 50% because of the recycling. So now, the town president wants to award us by purchasing these heavy barrels at a cost of $500,000 to $800,000, of course, out of the casino money, but I think this is why we're going to pay Pare again to do a study to see how much the contract would be and to come up with a figure for the sticker price that we would have to purchase to put on these barrels. Even though the agenda says they are going to work with the town on trash pickup proposals, I can't see that we're going to pay $15,000 to them to come up with proposals. I worked for the government. I had to come up with my own proposals and bids and so forth. We pay good money to these town people now. They should be able to come up with their own proposals. There was a survey done, and 1,407 residents out of 16,000 plus in the town of Tiverton filled out the survey. 72.2% said they would support the barrel system, but most of them didn't want to pay for a sticker. Well, how can you support the barrel system and not support everything that goes along with it? 67.7 out of the 1,394 that responded said they would have difficulty moving the trash bins. And I say bins because that's what the question said on the survey. I don't know who wrote the survey, but there was a lot to be desired in that. Over 50% said they were satisfied with the current pay-as-you-throw program. Well, which way do you want it? Why can't we go back to what we had before? Each household put out the barrels if you want barrels, put out the bags if you want bags. When Mega came to talk to us at the meeting, they said it would be about $130,000 more for the contract to pick up barrels, because they'd have to get different trucks, they'd have to borrow trucks, and plus, who's going to do the recording of the serial numbers in town? Can you imagine if we would have to, these during the snow, the last snowstorm, with the weather, trying to get those barrels out? The people that are off Stafford Road, you go by and you see piles of bags that those poor people had to cart up or drive up, which they won't be able to drive up a barrel, to the corner. But at least they don't stay there like until those people get home, which barrels would. They would have to stay there until those people got home to somehow or other get them back to their homes. Plus, you know, these stickers, I can't see that they would be 100 or less. They're going to be like $200, $300. Where's the people going to get the money from? So now this is double taxation because we're paying taxes that we used to get free, and we still get free trash pickup. Now we're going to have to pay for it. And the tipping fees, they're going to go up because if you have two barrels, you're not going to want to put them both out. But if the town says that we can't have our rubbish without the recycling, yeah, we'll put out an empty recycling barrel, because then that will be easier to push out to the curb and just put all your other rubbish in the other thing. When the projection was done by Pare back in 2011, after we had started the pay-as-you-throw, only 60% of the homes put out a bag. So if we take those homes times the 7,482 households that we have that was recorded in 2024, times the 60%, and they pay $100 each for a sticker, that would come out to $748,200. Well, back in 2011, we were paying $600,000 for rubbish pickup. I don't even know what it is now. So then, who's going to pay that? Who's going to keep track of the contract next time when, so what? What do you want for trash pickup? Oh, that's okay, just sign on the dotted line, because the money's going to be passed over to the residents. So I can't see that this is a good thing for the majority of people in town. a lot of them are elderly, a lot of them live off the main roads. You still go down Main Road, and people that do have barrels, they're out in the road, people are trying to walk around them, you're out in the road trying to walk because the barrels are on the sidewalk or wherever. So, and if this isn't already kind of set in stone, why are we paying all kinds of money for surveys and this and that? And why weren't people told that you want barrels, there's going to be a sticker charge? This is what it's going to be. Put it all out there and then say, okay, you want it? It's like me taking a vote. I have 100 candy bars. Do you want them? Everybody wants them, right? Oh, but they have nuts in. Oh, I don't want them. They have caramel. Oh, I don't want them. So you started off with 100. You ended up with what, 20 people that want them? It's the same thing with the barrels. People want the barrels when they have to pay for them, or they go to the senior center and see how heavy they are to push out, then they don't want them anymore. So we have to come up with something that's better for the townspeople. So.
Joanne Aruda, you put down everything, but is it possible to pick one or two topics? Oh, okay, all right, perfect. So all right. We're so engaging. All right, Robert Jobin, also regarding trash. Yeah. Mr. Jobin.
Must be tired of hearing from me. I have little concerns here with the larger trash cans. Personally, we live on a quarter-mile dead end with 4 families down the end with a 6-family condo in the beginning of it. My wife's a little peanut. God forbid anything happened to me, she won't be able to drag these barrels out to the main road, okay? It seems like the town is trying to do a project for a city where there are houses with small lots, not the town of Tiverton, which has multiple lots off the main road, and that becomes a huge issue. I think we saw part of that issue during the last snowstorm, or any snowstorm, okay, because the trash bags were piled, the recycling bins were piled. It becomes a traffic issue because now those with strong winds can end up in the middle of the street. It becomes an issue if they stay there for a while with rodents, everything from raccoons to rats. So there's also a public safety hazard here. You know, if you're honest with it, from probably November to March, the roads are icy. I can't see my wife dragging one of these barrels down the main road. You have issues, falls. Falls, you know, as you get older, and we're all getting older, fractured hips become a big issue. You're a nurse, you know about fractured hips, you know, fractured arms. There are various issues that come about with these large barrels. I was just looking at a few things recently. They're talking about cost, keeping it reasonable, and bringing things different areas. I think we're more concerned about, as we get older, how are we going to bring this to the street for removal? That's probably paramount. I would offer an option. It's going to cost money, but if you could bring your recyclables to the town, drop them in a large bin, large dumpster, we could transport smaller barrels to that particular area. I know I already see a no, but I think you have to work around this aspect with the larger barrels. I think it's definitely a public safety hazard going on.
Mr. Jobin, just a
Yes.
quick question. You said you live in a 6-unit condo?
No, I live on a road with a 6-unit condo, and we're all the way down
Okay.
the end on the lake. So there's a 6-unit condo, and then there were four houses down the end.
I
But
know, yeah, I wanted to make sure you weren't in said 6-unit condo, because
No.
that's in the ordinance as it is today. If we're picking up trash
Mm-hmm.
from a 6-unit condo, that is against the ordinance.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are reasons for it. They have a dumpster.
Yes.
But no, we're at the end. There were 4 houses at the end. And again, we're all elderly at the end of the dirt road. And it's not conducive to dragging these barrels. And fortunately,
I'm going to tell your neighbor you said he's elderly.
I am. I am.
No, I'm
there's,
going to tell your neighbor that you said he was elderly.
oh,
He's not
We're
here right
all-
now, but he's coming.
we're all elderly.
Patrick.
Yeah, okay, nice. Well, Patrick, I know Patrick very well, yes. So, Patrick's getting up there too, and God willing, he'll be elderly, so it's an issue, it really is, and I'd love you to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you. VA Lopes regarding flock. Just name and address for the record, please.
VA Lopes, 267 Deer Run Road. I just obviously have some concerns about us installing flock surveillance. We've had some significant government overreach with this current administration, so laws seem a little flexible right now, so does the Constitution. And I think if we allow the opportunity to have them, we end up having to fight against that. So if you don't have them, you don't have that issue. I also just wanted to have a point of clarification around, having recently resigned from the planning board, and the numbers we're using about the number of childs per household in the US. I noticed that people are Googling and getting 1.9, because I heard if we build, this is regardless of whether you support that, if we build any sort of low-income housing, they're calculating on a 1.9 child per household. That is outdated. That is Boomer, Gen X, and early millennial. We are actually about half of that. We're about 0.5 children per household now, and in Rhode Island, the average household is 2.5, so that's about, we're already tracking there. And I am an expert in this, global healthcare strategist, so these are the numbers. Just wanted to add that point of clarification.
Thank you.
President, just to clarify, when you said government overreach by this administration.
This
You
administration.
meant the federal administration.
The federal
I
administration.
just want to make
The
sure
thing,
that's
yeah,
clear.
if
Thank
you-
That was not a direct shot at the
No.
members here.
You
Okay.
guys are lovely. I
Thank
mean,
you.
you might be stalking me, I don't know. But yes, if we open that door and the government decides to come down, and we're seeing some towns work with the government at this shady line of the Constitution and well beyond it, that's where, if you don't open the door, you don't have the door, they can't open it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Meredith? Yeah. Mucci, okay.
Meredith Mucci, East Rose, Tiverton, also about flock, like everything she just said, not nearly as qualified to say it as well, but yes. And I just drove through Providence, I mean, those camera systems are also really, really ugly, not to mention the ugly truth about what they're doing and the AI issues that are going on. And this is a little bit unrelated, and I'm sorry, I can't remember if I was at a council meeting or a planning board meeting, but somebody wanted to build like a 18,000 square foot warehouse in our town, but couldn't tell us what they were gonna put in it. That also, I just wanna put that out there, is deeply concerning to me, and
That's
that I
got to be
want.
the planning board. It's not, would not have come in front of us.
Okay, well, anyway, be aware, I would prefer there are no 18,000 square foot for undesignated purposes in our town either. But thank you.
Thank you. Last up, we have Gail Lawrence, DPW question mark.
Gail Lawrence, I live at 108 Long Pasture Way in Tiverton, and I have a question that perhaps someone can help clarify. I understand that there is a major DPW at the state level project happening in the Four Corners area, maybe as soon as April. And I didn't speak to Sue at DPW, but she kindly left me information so I could reach out to the state, RIDOT, and they don't answer their phones particularly, at least not immediately. So I have not gotten a response. But my concern is that I want to know if you know about it, because you as leaders in the town, there will be impacts and ripple effects. And so I think the DPW administrator.
Our director
Department head is here.
just gave me the heads up that he probably has that information, so.
So that's good to know.
Give it to historical, they were wondering, there's members in the four corners, they had a
Yes, and so, not to quote from Shel Silverstein, we're trying to figure out where the sidewalk will end. And anyone who knows children's literature gets that. If you don't, it's okay. But truly, the Union Public Library is situated at 3832 Main Road. Will that impact the library? Will it be opened? Will it be inadvisable to have it opened? Where will the equipment be parked? These are all questions, and I guess to me, it's about communication with the community in terms of something as impactful as this at the peak of the season for those merchants in Four Corners. I learned about this through the Merchants Association minutes, and I think that's probably who you are referring to. It's the merchant, okay. And so one of the women who lives on Neck Road today, I said, well, do you know about the sidewalks? And she said no. And so trying to figure out how we make sure that people know what's happening, when it's happening. We're trying to organize our annual fundraiser, and so we may or may not be able to do that in the location we usually do it. So if I can have a conversation with the DPW officer and we can clarify that, then I can spread the word. But I'm thinking the council, I talked to someone at the town hall, and actually Patrick Jones's assistant, she didn't know. She said, well, call our IDOT. So, you should just trying to figure out how to improve communication about things like that.
John?
Yes, sir.
May I? I think Councilor Janik at a previous meeting mentioned all the DOT work taking place at the Four Corners and also at Bliss Four Corners.
Okay,
So
so.
it was mentioned.
It was mentioned, but they
Yeah.
gave us a broad
They didn't give us,
date.
yes.
Like timeline was pretty broad.
They didn't notify us exactly what the timeline is. That
Well,
the
and
director
that,
might have it, but we don't have that information.
it's
We just
not your
have-
fault.
I'm just letting you know that we were notified of the build. It's
It's
a-
state work.
Yes, I totally understand that, and it's complicated by the fact that the state is not necessarily, coming forward and saying, by the way, I went on the DOT website looking for projects, and the last project that I could find was Sousa Road, and that paving was done previously. So, are you looking now, John?
Yeah,
Can you see Tiverton Four Corners there?
So.
If you can, I'll give you a prize.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
on,
bring
it's on
it,
this,
but I'll
it's
get
on
it
this,
for you.
the East website. It says Main Street at East Road, asset type safety, replace signal. Yeah, so replacing the traffic signal, but it, yeah.
Sidewalks too.
So,
Dave,
so, Mr. Director, if it's all right, maybe for the next meeting, whatever information you have, if you could get that to us, and then we can.
Post it on the website, just
Yes, thank you.
assume, RIDOT should be, but they give us the same info as well, that they're broad date ranges, because they don't know when the contractor can commit to a time.
Yes.
With all the other projects they have.
Yes, and I understand it's supposed to take 100 days, and I learned today that they don't have to be consecutive days. So if you assume they're starting mid-April, don't assume that they're going to be done by mid-July, because, we know how Pond Bridge is going. So it's no criticism of you, it's just really trying to air this concern and help us help each other, get the word out.
That's great information. We'll do our best
All right,
to put it on
thank
the
you.
DPW website.
Thank
Councilor
you.
Burke?
I just want to note that, Gail, regardless of what we may be able to put out there, we're not the holders of the primary information. So people should go to the holders, and I understand you're having trouble. There is a place where you can to get an email from them. I would suggest that people who want that more up to date than what we might have it,
Right.
ask for that email to be sent to them by DOT.
Okay, it was a little disconcerting, and I totally take your point, Mike. It was disconcerting to think that, maybe no one in town hall had much information about it yet. And, it can be problematic, even though you're not the owners of the problem. It can become your problem. Thank you.
Thank you. All right,
Mr.
next.
President, hold on.
Yes, Councilor Perry.
I don't know if you remember when we did the business walk in the
Yes.
summertime. One of the things that they all said down there is that they wanted sidewalks. And I guess this was something that was promised to them years ago, and it's finally coming to fruition right now. So it's something that they do want, but it's gonna hurt the sum of
The
business.
when is the question.
Yeah, the when is the question.
was Edna Snell, who served as librarian for like 47 years, right? And they put in a sidewalk to enable her to do that. So the wheels of progress turn slowly.
That is correct.
They're only getting back to it now.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is appointments and resignations.
Can I
Yes.
just, I don't know if you want me to do this now or when we get to the trash, but we have a resident who gave me her letter, was not able to be here because we had postponed our meeting, but she asked that I read this.
So
She was going to be here for public
If it's-
comment. It's
if it-
about trash.
if it would be okay with you, perhaps we could get it sent out because I spoke with the administrator prior to the meeting. Pare Engineering is not here, therefore he had asked that we continue that to the next meeting. So that way we all get a chance to read it.
So you want me to email this to
If you don't
Joan
mind,
for the
yeah.
council? I can do that.
And then we'll put it as correspondence on the next meeting so
Okay,
we can all
so
get a chance.
this is the letter from Nancy Papagano.
Okay. So next item on the agenda is appointments and resignations. We have to acknowledge 2 resignations from Bill Gerlach from the Planning Board effective February 6, 2026, and Scott Toner from the Budget Committee effective February 20th, 2026. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept their resignations with regret.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
Motion been made, seconded by several. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Are we gonna?
All right, next item on the agenda is Planning Board. We have 2 vacancies, 9-member board, 3-year terms. We have 2 brand-new applicants, so we do need to do the interviews. First up is Mr. Jobin from 1131 Stafford Road, request appointment for a term ending 7/15/2026. Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to table this because of what Craig had said about getting criteria together on what a planning board member needs, and also because of David saying that in 2 weeks, he's going to bring up the new charter change with the planning board.
Motion to table, do I have a second on that, Counselor Burke? Or we have a second first, and then we can have discussion.
I know you wanted to second it.
Seconded by Counselor Perry. And
Second.
Counselor Committal.
I just have a question.
I'm sorry?
How,
Oh, there's actually no discussion. It's a procedural question, so go ahead.
how might this affect quorum for the,
They still have a quorum. No problem. Cheryl's saying no problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, how many members do you have right now? 7. Okay. And a quorum, yeah, you'd be fine.
So, motion to table, and do we need a period certain, Mr. Solicitor? No? Okay. So, this would be both applicants. All those in favor? None opposed. Okay, next item on the agenda is Budget Committee, 7-member board, 4-year term, 5 vacancies. Latasha Moody from 162 Mill Street requests appointment for term ending 11/2/2026 or 11/6/2028. Either one, okay. Welcome. Yeah, you can sit, you can stand, your choice, whatever you prefer.
I feel better standing.
You can look down on us that way, you know?
Is this a reappointment? Is this a reappointment?
It is, I guess
No.
you can call it
No,
that.
you were on it.
I
though.
was on
Oh,
before,
and then
but
you left.
I was not voted back in, I guess you can say. It was for the very short term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, during the election.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, I get it.
I tried.
It's so familiar.
So why don't you start just by telling us why you'd like to be on the Budget Committee, which has no quorum?
So I am, so I am a retired Army officer who is pivoting from, of course, serving in the Army and going into the public sector. And so I'm trying to gain a footing in the public sector, and I felt like Budget Committee would be a good place for me to start that. And I'm just, I guess, after serving on the federal side of the house, I'm ready to serve in my community that I've been here for almost 10 years, so I'm available. And so that's it.
All right, do we have any questions from the council? Councilor DiMederos?
Nope.
Anybody else?
No, Mr. President, I'd make a motion to appoint,
We waive policy first.
We have to waive.
motion to waive the policy.
Second.
All right, motion to waive the policies is made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Yes.
To waive the policy. Okay.
All right.
All
Councilor
right.
Paul.
So I will make the motion to appoint Latasha Moody, Mill Street, to a term ending 11/2/26 or 11/6/28, I
Give
guess.
her 28. Give her the long one.
Give her the long one.
You want the long one? We'll take the long one. So 11/6/28 is punishment for your service.
Exactly.
We do like you, but
All right, do I have a second?
second,
Seconded by Counselor Perry, Counselor DiMederos.
no
Counselor Comito.
discussion, right?
Please, discussion. So, just for future reference, I think this is another thing that we really need to look at, the Budget Committee. We haven't been able to get a quorum for some time. I know there's some stuff coming up in charter change stuff, but I think it's another committee that, unfortunately, in the past year or so, has been vacant, and just, excuse me?
Why? Well,
Yeah,
You'll-
it's just a committee we need to look at. I don't see that much of a future for a budget committee, just my opinion.
I do agree with Counselor Comito that we need to take a good hard look at the Budget Committee as a whole, what role it fills, and it has been a long decline for the Budget Committee. But I do want to thank you for
may wanna be-
stepping up.
you may want to be on the planning board.
And we have, yeah, zoning, yes. And, you know, we're very thankful for your desire to serve. With that, all those in favor of appointing, all right, congratulations.
Thank you.
You have no committee.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the public hearing as advertised. As noted, this is going to be continued to the next council meeting. And just for the council, it was brought to my attention that there are a couple of small changes that impact a business in the Waterfront 2 district. So we will be pulling those out separately in the event that we aren't able to have the full discussion with the planning board by that next meeting.
Do we have a date for the workshop yet?
We do not.
Okay.
I have reached out to the planner and to Ed Rosella to quarterback that for us.
Just for discussion purposes, do we need to really keep printing out?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Same thing over
Can we
and
not
over
put it in the packet? Is
every
that the
week.
thing?
Can't-
It has to be there.
Agenda because we're continuing a public hearing, so it
Yeah.
has to be on the
So my,
This is my 5th copy.
Madam Clerk, can you stop printing them out for Counselor Comito?
No.
Are you talking about the agenda, or are you talking about
the
the
backup.
backup? Oh, well,
Backup.
I'm sorry.
The backup, sorry.
That's up to the clerk. The agenda needs to be printed as
I
is.
just feel bad with printing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I have.
You should be
several
expert at it by
copies.
now.
Well, I do understand it quite a bit, but
That's fine. I mean, that's up to the clerk. There's no need. I think the problem is that you'll get to a meeting and say, no, I never got it, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Right. exactly.
okay. I just can't help you, sorry.
But we do need to pick a date if we can get one, because we're gonna continue.
We need to, yeah. All right, moving on
We
to,
do not have a date.
general business.
Let's just continue to the next council meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
date's
To the
certain.
extent that we have a date before, then we can re-advertise. or-
Correct. All right. Next item is Police Chief Costa, discussion and possible vote to install flock safety cameras on Route 24, highly contentious issue. Chief Costa, please.
I don't even know. What I understand is they can do it without our permission.
Hi, thank you for having us. As with any police officer, just so you know, I came with backup tonight. I'm no expert on this, so joining me tonight is the Deputy Chief, Michael Miguel, Captain Brian Pelagi from the Tiverton Police Department, Detective Sergeant Jason Kobalecki, Detective Nicole Beauvais, and Captain Mark Albaum from the State Police. And I felt that it was important to have them here today because these are the people that are actually using this system. They can answer any questions that I might not be able to answer for you. But I thought in the event that you needed to ask them or get another opinion on this, that they would be here to kind of back me up. So they graciously attended for me. The state police have reached out to me, and they are looking to install 2 flock cameras on Route 24, one on Route 24 North and one on Route 24 South. I am in full support of this. I supported this program for a long time. As you are aware, we have 2 flock cameras in town right now. We've had them for several years. And in full transparency, I have put in my budget that I have submitted to the town administrator to increase the 2 that we currently have to go to 6, because I do support this program. I have seen results from it. I have documented results. If you'd like, I could share a couple of those with you tonight. but they certainly work. I know that there is some opposition to this. I know the ACLU had submitted an email to all of you about their concerns, and I respect the role that they play in our society. But I have to fundamentally disagree on their opinion on this, and it is my job, and it is the police department's job to make sure that we can safely protect our town and that we can investigate crimes that happen in it. We talk about having a tool in the toolbox, and I can assure you that this is one of the biggest tools that we have. It's effective, and I'm open to any questions that you may have about it.
All right, members of the council, questions for the chief, Councilor DiMedeiros and Councilor Janik.
Whether we,
Excuse me, too, I missed somebody here. Kristen Donahue is also here tonight. She is a flock representative that I asked to come down. She came down from Boston, so she is an expert on flock and would be able to answer any questions you have also.
I understand that whether we approve this or not, the state can do it anyway. Is that true?
So I believe it is. I think that the state police have very nicely invited us to have the conversation, but this is on a state highway. So I think that they have the ability to put it in, whether we grant them permission or not. But I do appreciate the team effort that they're reaching out to their local law enforcement. And also, there are 20 other towns that have also already committed to this. And speaking to the captain, Captain Olbaum, the state police got a grant to purchase these cameras. So 20 other cities and towns have already bought into this with them to put them in their communities as well.
And Portsmouth said no.
I believe Portsmouth said no.
Okay.
That is why they're offering
But they
us
can put it in, that's what I'm asking. They're coming to us because Portsmouth said no.
No, they were coming to us with at least one camera that they were
Okay.
willing to install on 24.
Okay.
And then they approached Portsmouth to install another one coming the other way. And I don't want to speak for Portsmouth, I wasn't at that meeting. But by Portsmouth declining them, Captain Olbaum reached back out to us and said, if Tiverton's a go, we'll put them both in Tiverton for you. Again, I would be hypocritical of me to say I don't support this program when we've had them for so long. So I was certainly excited to have them in our community and to be able to utilize them, when we need them.
Thank you.
Councilor Janik.
So you said you budgeted for 6. Is that in addition to the 2 we already have?
So we have 2 currently that we pay for. And I have put in my budget and put a line item in there that I want to grow that 2 to 6 in total that we would be responsible for. Not to include the 2 that the state police are asking.
So 4 more.
So 4 more.
No.
Or
No.
6.
4 more for Tiverton that we will be talking about when I put my budget forward, yes.
Yes.
Right.
So 4 more for Tiverton, and then, but we're talking tonight about the 2 that the state police are looking to add. We're only talking about the 2 for the state police,
All right. So
yes.
when you say budget, is it to purchase the cameras and then is there
We're still talking about.
We gotta have it contained just to the state police.
just to the 2?
Yeah.
On 24?
Yep.
As listed on the agenda, who pays for those?
So the state police will be paying for those, not
Okay.
us.
And then is there a cost to us after that, or it's just to buy the cameras?
Nope, the state police will be maintaining the cameras that they're getting.
Okay. So I guess the biggest concern from everyone that I've heard from is the privacy issue. Are there policies in place? Is this a list? Is it a video? Does it get sold? What gets seen on this video with this camera? Who has access to it? You know, is it the federal government? Is it the state government? Is it, who sees this? Who has access to it? And for how long?
Okay.
If I drive down 24 South this evening and get videoed, in 2 years, can you say, Councilor Janik was on 24 South at this time on this date 2 years ago? Like, how long does that last for?
Okay, so a lot of questions.
I know.
I hope that I can answer.
All on the
I
same
hope that
topic.
all on the same topic, so I hope that I'm able to answer them all for you. So by policy, the flock cameras only hold on to the data for 30 days, and then it's a data dump, if you will. And by our policy, we're only going to hold on to the information for 30 days. So if someone hasn't reported a crime or we're not investigating something, I would imagine that we are going to know about the crime right away. We're going to begin our investigation. If we haven't heard from someone in 30 days or we're not investigating a crime after that 30 days, the information is discarded from the flock system. So we don't hold it, and flock does not hold it for 30 days. There is a misconception about these cameras. Some people think that they're going out there and that these are traffic cameras, that they're writing traffic tickets, and they're these big, large cameras that are on the side of the roadway or on the sidewalks. This is not that. They do not write traffic tickets. They are not located on our sidewalks. These are not giant cameras that you're going to see that you see in downtown Providence, as the woman earlier today had talked about. These cameras are about 8 3/4 of an inches in height and 5 inches wide. They're not very visible. We've never gotten any complaints about the two that we currently have in town, that they're unsightly, and they're certainly not an obstruction on the sidewalk or anything like that. So now the big question is, what are they recording and what are they actually doing? These cameras are put in strategic locations that we would place throughout town, and in this case, the state police have chosen Route 24. They only take a snapshot of the back of someone's vehicle. So they take a license plate, it would record obviously the make and model or anything that you could see in the back of a license plate. And that's the information that it holds. It doesn't do anything from that point. It only holds that photograph. Now, if we need to recall it for whatever criminal investigation that we're looking into, that's when we go to get that information, and that's where our investigation begins. But that's it. So to be clear, the information that it's gathering is no different than if I was to walk out into a public parking lot today and decided to take a picture of the back of everyone's car. It's legal for me to do that. So when people get concerned about we're looking at the back of the license plates on the car, it's no different than someone from the regular public would be able to do in an open parking lot. These are not on private property. These are on town property. They only record public roadways and things that are visible from the public eye. So we are not securing them on anyone's private property or anything like that. Did I answer all? I'm sorry, Councilwoman? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
And so it just is the vehicle. What do you use that for?
So it's an investigative tool. So we still need boots on the ground, which is why I asked my detectives to come with me today and support it. They're using this technology. We've used this technology in town to investigate and prosecute some pretty serious cases that we have had in Tiverton. So when we get the information, it's another piece of evidence. It's another piece of the puzzle that we would use to go forward and conduct our investigation. And we would either eliminate, through process of elimination, get rid of some of these vehicles, or we would continue to go forward with our investigative tool, and that would only support the investigation as it went on. Very quickly, if I can go over some of the things that we've done with this, is I'm sure you can go back to 2022. We had a 32-year-old male subject that was run over by a car in a hit-and-run accident on Booger Marsh Road. Party was involved in a road rage incident. He got out of his car, and the other vehicle literally ran over this gentleman's head, and by the grace of God, he survives. We were able to secure video footage from a local business, so we were able to identify that car. And we then took that information and entered it into our flock system, and we also share that information with the city of Fall River, and we were able to identify that vehicle. We were able to make an arrest because of that. So that person has a 15-year sentence and is serving 5 years mandatory service in jail. We recently, in 2026, just had an incident in Fall River. There was an armed robbery that took place in Fall River. The vehicle was identified. Flock identified it. We were able to identify it here in Tiverton. We conducted our investigation, and we were able to arrest and secure a subject in an armed robbery that occurred in Fall River. I can go on and on with these types of things. We've recently had an issue at the Bourne Mill where some juvenile suspect showed up. They showed up to fight some other residents that were there from the Bourne Mill. They came out with knives to try and fight and assault the residents that we had there. And when we checked on this, they were in a stolen vehicle out of Bridgewater, Massachusetts. We were able to enter that vehicle into flock. We were able to locate where it was coming from and where it was kept. So that's some of the information. That's just a few. I could go on and on with different things like this. We've used it recently with an Alzheimer's patient where they thought they were people were telling us that the person was in New Hampshire, where in fact they were in Tiverton, Rhode Island, and we were able to locate their vehicle through our flock system and recover an Alzheimer's patient. So it's not just for crimes. We can use it for things such as that. So there is an importance to this. I can tell you that we value this tool, and I value the relationship that we have with the Rhode Island State Police, and I fully support this.
Counselor Burke.
Thank you, Chief, and I appreciate the time we spent talking through this. You enlightened me a lot, and I recognize it has legitimate law enforcement and public safety aspects to it. And I'm torn. I'm a strong civil liberties advocate, have been all my life.
I think we all should be.
I agree. And one thing you had mentioned, that, I can go out and take everybody's car out there. But one of the differences, this is a moving vehicle you're taking a picture of. It's not just somebody stationary sitting there. So technically, I could be tracked, and you basically said with some of these, people have been tracked from one point to another.
So if I can just...
No, I
just
know,
don't-
not actively tracked, not actively
okay.
tracked.
I don't want to lose
understand
my
that.
train of thought.
No, I understand that, not actively tracked.
Okay.
But there are instances, and I know Steve Brown well. I've known him for 25 years, and I've worked with him closely in legislative activities at the State House, so I have as much faith in him as I have in you, and that's a lot for both of you.
Appreciate it.
For me, it's erring on the side of caution for protecting civil liberties is where I see myself falling at this point. What I talked to you beforehand is what I think is missing are clear policies, both on the local and the state level. On, at least I haven't seen them. I don't think we have an ordinance on them. I know you have internal policies, yes. But we don't have any ordinance on it as far as I know, and I don't believe there's state law related to this. I could be wrong.
You're correct.
So I'd at least want to see that put in place. We can certainly do a local ordinance fairly quickly. And I would have to, and certainly, the state police colonel, I think he's a great guy. And again, is very respectful, and have high respect for him. But there are, and I know when we talked, there are safeguards with Flock. But some of those safeguards by other departments across the country, not here, have been overridden. There have been access to them by ICE.
Okay.
And, that's my biggest concern.
If I can try to calm some of your concerns, the state police have made it very clear that they will not share with ICE or anyone from Homeland Security and those types of things. That's their policy. We don't do that as well.
Right.
When we do share our information with Flock, we share it with like departments who have policies that are exactly like ours, or we don't share information with them. I would be incorrect to tell you that mistakes don't happen. If this information is shared by a police officer from my agency, I can tell you there'll be disciplinary actions. I can tell you that when those discipline actions come, whether or not they brought a criminal activity, then they'll be criminally charged. They will be disciplined and possibly terminated. I think we have a track record that we won't have that kind of behavior in our department. I'm proud to say that. So those are the safeguards that we take. We do have policies on that. The deputy chief has also, since I've become the chief, has been responsible for maintaining the Flock system, and in addition to the security things that Flock has in place. Now, Flock's policy also says they don't share with ICE, and they don't share with government agencies. It's clear in their policy. If you don't take my word for it, Kristen is here to support that, but they don't share with those agencies. We don't share with those agencies. I am not going to sit here, sir, and tell you that mistakes haven't been made by other agencies. I don't know of those agencies, so I would be guessing on that part. But mistakes happen. They happen in every line of work. But I can tell you that we have our safeguards in play. The deputy chief does on a monthly basis, and I have an example of it here if you'd like to see it. We do an audit of our Flock system every month. By policy, we only have to do it every year, but we do it every month. He goes over exactly what crimes are being investigated. He can tell you exactly what Flock was being used for and what was run and how it was done and what it's being used for. So we have more safeguards in place. The International Association of Chiefs of Police has a guideline on how they feel Flock should be used. I can tell you that we have a more restrictive policy than what they have, and I'm proud to say that we have that. So those safeguards are there. I would like to tell you that we didn't have to have that discussion on some of your concerns. I don't think that this is going to reach the level of state legislation. I don't think it's needed at that level, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that where we have it now is we're in a good place. And I would hope that you have the faith and the trust of the police department, that we have this information and it is being done to safeguard the residents of Tiverton, and that we can have the ability to solve crimes when they happen in our town.
And again, I do have full faith in you and in your staff and your officers. It's more about people outside of here. And there are examples
Yeah.
of jurisdictions where it wasn't a mistake. Somebody who had access to these systems gave access to
Yep.
ICE and the Department of Homeland Security.
So I can tell you that I've heard those things too. And I've spoken to Mrs. Donahue from Flock here today, and some of that is social media propaganda that's out there that I don't know if that is actually true or not. I can only talk to you about how we have managed the system here, how it's been managed in the state of Rhode Island, and I'm proud to say that we've done a very good job with that. When you talk about the information and what's possibly that could be shared, as you said earlier, I want to just clear one thing up when you were talking about tracking, and I know you brought that back in very quickly. This doesn't track someone. When you go through the intersection or wherever this camera is located, it takes a snapshot of the back of your vehicle. Now, unless you go through another flock camera at a different location, I don't know where you went. I don't know that you took a left or a right to buy a coffee or go grocery shopping or what you bought for lunch. I don't know that. I just know the areas in which you were in. If I'm actually looking for your vehicle. If we're not looking for it, then it has all this information that it's not used. We're only monitoring this when we're looking or investigating crimes. No one is sitting at a desk at the Tiverton Police Department monitoring every single vehicle as it goes through an area. And it does not take a picture of inside the vehicle. So I can't tell you who was driving your car. I can't tell you of the contents of the vehicle. All I can tell you is that vehicle was in a certain area, and then it's boots on the ground for the detectives to go out and knock on doors and do the job that they need to do to investigate the crime if it did occur. And I think we have that well documented in the high-profile cases that we've had only in Tiverton. One of them was for a gentleman who had $166,000 in gold bars, who was being scammed by someone who doesn't live in our town, but we were able to locate the vehicle through Flock. We were able to work with our local law enforcement groups, and this led us to, later on down the road, multi-million-dollar elderly scam that we were able to start in the town of Tiverton because we had this technology. This helps our residents. I understand your concerns. Saturday, I was at Home Depot, and as I'm buying my glass cleaner and my window degreaser and doing my self-checkout, Home Depot, while we're checking out, has facial recognition. So we were worried about some of the information that's out there. They have facial recognition so they can prosecute shoplifting. I'm asking you to support this today because we're looking to take care of the residents of Tiverton. We're looking to solve the crimes there. And I hope that I would have your support on this.
Councilor Paul, then Councilor Comito.
So, Chief, it does have my full support because I think protecting our residents is priority. I did serve some time over at Bristol Police, and I know that they recently pushed for this, and they passed it as well. There was I appreciate all the local examples you gave us, and it's funny because things happen and then knee-jerk. The knee-jerk here is, where's all the cameras? So do you have another example, Brown University, on how this helps?
So clearly we do. I won't speak for him. If you'd like to hear from him, he's here. Captain Orbaum was part of that investigation. Flock cameras, as soon as everything happened in that tragic night at Brown University in Providence, everyone, and I'm including, I would even say the people in this room, said, where are the cameras? Why don't the police have this technology? Why aren't they looking at this? And the cameras inside the building maybe weren't there. I don't know all the investigation, but I know Flock was used. Once they were able to locate the vehicle, once they were able to get a description of that vehicle, it was Flock that was able to follow that vehicle and then subsequently lead to not an arrest. We know that that person took their own life, but that's what closed out that case. It was having that information. So we've used it, like I said, for the cases that we have here, and they're using it across the country. I encourage sharing our information. And I know, Mr. Burke, that you had some concerns about who we're sharing it with and what they could do with that information. I understand. Several years ago, we had a girl that was abducted, a teenage girl from down south. And she was brought to Tiverton, Rhode Island. She was raped multiple times on the way here and introduced to drugs and heroin on the way here. And then we recovered her in Tiverton. If we would have had that technology back then, or if we were sharing with our partners along the East Coast, we would have had that information sooner and been able to prevent this from happening from this group. No system's going to be perfect, sir. I can promise you that. There'll be problems along the way. Technology gets hacked. People make mistakes. This is sound technology. This is the tool in the toolbox. This is what we need to make sure that we're keeping our residents safe. And I respect your opinion, sir, more than you know about the concerns that you have. But I think that we're on solid ground here.
Councilor Camino.
So, after listening to the testimony here today, I was always in full support of the flock system. Knowing that we've had this system in town for quite some time now, 0 issues from what I understand. And I believe it's been close to 10 years that we've had this.
Several years, yes.
Several years. I'd like to make the motion to support the install of the flock cameras on Route 24, purchased by the state police and maintained by the state police.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Councilor Janik.
Do we have written policies at the Tiverton police level, the Rhode Island State Police, that discuss how they're utilized, how they're utilized, if they are shared or, not shared? Do we have written policies that discuss that?
Can I just, on that note, add that I believe the research that I did with the flock system, I don't think it belongs in our town ordinance to have the police department control, or us to have control of what they're operating with for their investigations. But the research that I've done, the police chief has the right to adjust anything he wants in the contract, I understand, as far as the criteria. If they said that the information could be deleted in 20 days, they could set that criteria with flock in the contract. They have a lot of controls over the system, and the policies that they do have in place, I think the safeguard. I mean,
Safeguard.
the safeguard. As far as doing it once a year, they've proven they're doing it every month. They're above and beyond. And I just wanted to mention the fact that I don't believe it belongs in our town ordinance. I think it belongs in the police department with the police chief's responsibility, and I think it's being handled correctly. Just my 2
I'm
cents on
just
that.
saying that I believe we need to have written policies that discuss this, so that when residents question, we have something in writing
Yeah.
that discusses that. And I have full trust in you, Chief, but people, they want to see, they want to believe it.
And they should.
And they
So we
should.
have a public portal that's on our website that the public can access if they choose to do so, about how we're using the system. We have our policies that are in place about how the system is used. We have a policy on how our officers are trained. They review this policy. Flock has what they call a Flock Academy that officers go on. It's a virtual academy where they'll go on for different trainings throughout the year, several times a month. Flock offers these at different times, where officers and people who have access to this system can go on and be trained. And I also want to make it very clear that the only ones who have access to this system are my supervisors and my detectives. Supervisors and detectives. That's it. We are not sending this out to anybody else. The rest of the department, a brand-new patrolman doesn't have access to this system. It is just for my supervisors right now. That's the supervisors and detectives who have it. I have a copy of the audit that, again, like I said earlier, by policy, we're supposed to do it once a year. We're doing this every month, and the deputy chief is the one that's doing the audits.
Councilor Burke.
So, a couple things, Chief. When you say that only it's restricted to certain people in your department to access the system and see, that's here. But this information is available to those law enforcement agencies across the country who it's shared with.
That we share with? Yes. So again, like I said, yes, we do share with other agencies for investigative tools and for if someone's putting information out there. for whatever reasons.
So if I'm in Oregon, and for whatever reason, I think I need to access Tiverton's system, what do I do?
Yes. How do you access ours?
Yes.
Well, first of all, we have to we grant you permission
Okay.
to share on our system. But by doing so, you have to supply to us your policies on the system, and if they don't mirror our policies, or we don't like what your policy is, then we can reject you. We don't have to share with you. Just
So let me-
because,
Let me back up a bit. So that's kind of the ongoing policy. But if today I'm in that police department somewhere in Oregon, and we have this agreement, you've seen all the policies, they match what we need.
and I'm accepting of those policies?
Yep, you've accepted all the policies.
Yes, sir.
But I need something today. How do I get access to what I need today?
If
Do I
we're
come here?
sharing-
Do I call here, or do I go to Flock?
No,
What do
you
I
can
do?
log into the system. We're sharing that information.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're trusting that that police department, not saying we shouldn't, is going to abide by what they said they were going to abide by.
Yes, sir. So, but I'll say this, I trust every police department that I work with. I love cops. That's why I took this job, and I respect the job that they do every single day. But we're not perfect, Mr. Burke. We make mistakes, as every line of work does. And I would hope that if an officer in Oregon or any community makes the mistake of violating the public's trust, that they're disciplined, charged, or terminated. We have accountability standards.
I totally agree, but that doesn't help protect the person who they violate the rights of.
I understand. So, again, we trust law enforcement throughout the country, throughout the world, to do the right thing. So that is where I would stake my flag, is that we're out there trying to do the right thing. This is used for the reasons that we stated, for investigative tools. And I would tell you that if someone went missing in Oregon and we find them in Tiverton, Rhode Island due to Flock, then we should be giving Flock a standing ovation for having that technology and giving us the ability to solve that crime. And that outweighs any other risk that I'm willing to take.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion on the floor, seconded by Councilor Paul. All those in favor? Opposed?
We're still friends, Mr. Burke.
I know, I need that ordinance, that's what I need.
All right.
I appreciate your support.
Next item on the agenda is DPW Director Silvia, update on current equipment conditions at the Department of Public Works. Mr. Director.
Evening, Council. Thank you for having me. How in detail would you like me to go on this list, or would you like me to be brief?
Counselor Chabot.
It's a private company, they own that data, what if there's a data breach?
We're talking about DPW Director stuff now. Counselor Chabot, please.
So I kind of went through this list a little bit, and I'm just curious on, some of these repairs. I would assume they're somewhere in the line to get repaired. Some of these repairs on some of these trucks seem minor, or is there plans to fix them, or?
Yes, so most of the vehicles that say need attention or are in repair will either get repaired or close, or maybe got finished today. The ones that are not operational, most likely are going to be a little bit more difficult to get them operational, may not be back online.
So like the number 24, the 99 Freightliner,
Correct.
might not be coming back.
It's 26 years old.
Right. So it might not be coming back.
Correct.
No, but we have another one, that's number 25.
Right, so we
It's running
use-
now, but, so is that?
So we use 24 to help with 25.
Perfect. Tiverton way.
Yeah.
Well, I just, if there's something here that's not coming back, let's just be blunt and say, it's not coming back, it's gone.
Yes, sir.
That's all I'm
Understood.
asking, like.
Yes, sir.
We have a habit of Tiverton of taking 24 to fix 25, and if that's gonna get us through a quick fix or a quick storm, yeah, I agree with it, but if 24 is no good, then just say 24 is no good, it's not coming back. It's just my opinion.
The intent of doing this probably every 3 months, I think we've done it since I've been here, is to keep you guys informed that the fleet at DPW is in bad need of replacement.
Well, I think we've done a great job of replacing a lot of this stuff, and I think we're getting there.
Yes, sir. We did get the 4 F600s, and without them, we would have had a very difficult winter.
Which is multi-use trucks,
Correct.
is gonna help the cause. But if anything here is like, I don't know, number 32, it says operational, but check engine lights. I mean, is it worth putting the money into? You have another one here that says, over $10,000 in repairs. Is it worth it, or
So,
do we just eliminate it now?
no, so with the amount of trucks that we have for the drivers, we have to try to keep as many of these running as possible, or else we wouldn't have enough vehicles for the amount of drivers that we have, including during winter storms when we have 2 drivers come in to drive DPW
So
vehicles.
some of them we need to repair.
Or, as we
Replace.
come within the next 6 months, replace.
Okay.
Any further questions?
I'd just like to.
Ties together with the next item.
Yeah, I was gonna, just to point out from one of them with the next item on the agenda, the John Deere loader is 20 years old. It has a severe skip in the engine. You can hear it when it runs. We just had John Deere down. It needs a fuel injection pump for the second time. They don't make the part anymore, so we get remanufactured parts. So the last fuel injection pump has only lasted 2 years. So most likely, the next one will only last 2 years. So the way a lot of this equipment's going nowadays, they want you to buy new, so they stop supplying parts.
Whatever you do, don't buy from Real Truck.
I do have a quick question, Mr. President.
Real Truck.
I apologize, I was momentarily incapacitated. What determines, and I don't know if this was asked, I know I came in on Councilor Comito talking, what determines what gets shipped out and what gets worked on here? Like, what limits does our mechanic have versus this has got to get shipped out, it's got to get fixed?
Yeah, so that determination gets based on how many trucks he's actively working on or other pieces of equipment and the length of time it would take to get that vehicle operational. And if we've got a storm coming and he's capable of getting 3 or 4 trucks with minor repairs going himself, while also we can send one out that needs a major repair and get it back before a storm, that's how we've made those decisions.
Yeah, and I can appreciate the term storm, but in general, because the way I'm looking at this too is, I know in the past, we've had issues with just getting trucks fixed. It's been, let's go find a part somewhere, let's let it sit in the yard, let's let it get worse before we can even look at fixing it, which only makes it worse. I'm just wondering if we need to look at your budget for in-house fixes versus sending trucks out to get fixed and balancing that line or maybe increasing that.
Yeah, I think what we're speaking about now is a personnel issue and how many mechanics I have, the amount of equipment that I have, and the amount of equipment that DPW has that needs repair. It's impossible for one person. As a matter of fact, most of the highway maintainers that should be out on the road, 2 or 3 of them will remain back to help the mechanic get some of these vehicles operational again before, as the winter is gone, before a storm.
Well, any other
Are we on
questions
to the loader yet?
Well, we can use this as a reference, and let's just load in the.
Thank you.
The loader?
The loader discussion, yes. Mr.
Okay,
Director.
so, as just discussed, we don't take the loader right now anywhere off property or within a couple of streets of off property, in fear that we'll have to trailer it back, that it'll break down. Again, it needs a fuel injection pump. We've recently spent over 30 grand getting all the hydraulics fixed. The main hydraulic pump and line underneath the cab of the loader needed full replacement. That's one of the ones that went out. Like, it's just in front, it's underneath the loader bucket, and it's very difficult to get to. Most of the front end of the machine had to come off to get to those. No, the pump, all the lines coming off the main hydraulic pump was gone. It all had to be repaired. So
from the last time that we asked for equipment to now, we spent over 30,000 on that loader, and we're at a point where we don't want to even take it out of the yard. So I have a request here to buy a new loader. It's at a price that is contractually obligated through other municipalities. I tried getting it lower. They said they couldn't break that price with the agreement they have across the region. But we also had a track loader that used to operate at the landfill that we no longer have, so we have two of them. We typically only use one to help push up the salt. So we asked for a trade-in value. Once I learned we couldn't lower the cost of the loader anymore, I asked for more in the trade-in value, and they went up $5,000 in that to get us down to a price of $232,732. So I've asked for $233,100 to also letter the vehicle once it gets here, if approved.
Counselor Burke.
No fighting. I'm not opposed to this. My only concern, so I'm going to turn to Patrick, is two things. One, we would need to go out to bid for this. Or is this master price?
Sourcewell.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
that's why
okay.
it's an agreement upon price across the region.
Okay. But second, I won't support it tonight because we need to have a gaming meeting. If we're going to use gaming money, we need to have a gaming meeting.
We also don't have a resolution.
Right.
So I think the intention was to have a discussion whether you would want a resolution to buy this, and but for the next meeting, I'd prepare a resolution, assuming
Correct.
that, so that's,
I understand
Yeah.
that, but then we're doing one-offs on gaming money.
no, I'm just suggesting that you said you're voting on it tonight. We would not be voting on this tonight. This is no resolution before you.
To write a resolution.
Correct.
So I do have a quick question. Oh, Counselor
No,
Paul.
go ahead, because I was looking over there to make sure that.
Go ahead, President. Go ahead, President.
All
You're
right,
next.
so, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um,
I yield my time to you.
So, oh, who's better than you, huh? So, question for you, Mr. Director. As I look at some of the line items inside of the gaming, we do have a number of dollars allocated to DPW that are unspent. So, for instance, the F600 dump trucks, Chabot M6, it looks like we spent $322,164. We've got $147,000 still there. And then, like minor things too, like the tire changer, there's $2,700 left over. A forklift for $5,500.
The forklift, we have not been able to
Can you
get.
find a forklift for $5,500?
We had one, but the length of time it took to get the approval, somebody else grabbed it.
Okay, and then you got the John Deere 6100. There's $7,600 left there. So all in, it looks like we do have unspent dollars that were allocated to your department in the sum total of $176,958.
Okay, I want to make sure those are updated numbers because we have most of that stuff.
Okay. So it would. I'm just, if there was dollars unspent that were allocated to DPW, this would be an opportunity to
I would
repurpose.
also warn the council that we're still calculating the expenditures from the blizzard. So, obviously, this would be a straight expense from the casino gaming. And as Councilor Burke said, this would be off the master price agreement as well, and offset with the trade-in.
This price was with the trade.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, just understand that, I don't know if anyone's been watching what's been going on the last 3 or 4 years, but you keep waiting months, the machine's gonna go up in price and the trade value is gonna go down.
So this could be a silly question, but I mean, how, like in dire needs, dire strait, are we needing the loader? Like,
Well, I
Would
think
we
we
use it-
hired 7 to help us get through the storm because we didn't even have one loader that size that could help us because we wouldn't take it off the
yeah, but
lot.
isn't our loader primarily used to move stuff in the yard and to load the salt and the sand?
Correct.
We did that with it, obviously, right?
Yeah, anything we could do in the yard with it, we did, yes.
Okay.
But we usually take it down to Chabot to open the roads from the wind the wind drifts.
You got a guy for that now.
Yeah.
There he is.
So, there's other things we do.
Right.
We use it to load and unload,
Now,
you know.
that loader that we have now, I mean, it was purchased a while back, obviously, but that also came with a whole bunch of several attachments.
Correct.
Will those be compatible with the new loader?
Yes, sir.
So that's a plus. There's no sense in trading that loader in because they won't give us any money for it? Or do we keep that
Well,
loader?
it's a different company, so the loader, the track loader is why we were able to trade one in, is because it was a
'Cause it was a
cat.
cat.
Correct. And they have actually somebody that would like to buy it.
So, the track machine.
Correct.
But also, would we keep the old loader operational just to stay on that salt to?
Correct. To stop the new machine
From
from
getting
being in the salt
destroyed.
pot. Correct. That's the intent.
Okay, thank you.
You asked if we've seen over the last few years what happens with prices. I think we've bought very few new items over the last few years. We've bought a lot of very well-used items that we've then put a lot of money into after, and I think you're living that now, so.
Yes.
Do we just, keep buying very used that other communities are trading in and trading up, and then spending money refabricating pieces to go into them, to keep them running? I think if we kind of cut the bullet and bite the bullet now and buy something that's quality and new, then we're not, I'm sure we'll have repairs, but not to the extent,
Right, well, usually they'll
that
come
you're-
with warranties and
Right.
stuff, so we won't have to repair them for a few years.
not what you've been
Director,
experiencing.
didn't you ask in your budget for a new loader
This,
this fiscal year? Oh, it was last year, right? And we bought the plow trucks instead, correct?
Correct, sir.
Thankfully, we bought the plow trucks.
yes.
This
And
year.
thankfully, the loader is still working.
Now,
All right.
Counselor Paul?
Mr. President, I've been beating the drum for years now, so I'm not going to bother beating it again tonight on kicking DPW equipment down the street. I would motion to approve the resolution to purchase the CAT 930 loader for $233,100 from Fund 650 Gaming, also to include whatever offset from previous DPW allocations are remaining. So the purchase price is the purchase price.
Your offset goes right back to the fund, so.
Correct, that's what I'm saying, but just to keep in mind, we're not just gonna blow an additional 233, there are funds there.
Those funds are
that
there.
are unspent.
But there might be other offsets that are from other things that go back to that fund. So I wouldn't limit it just to those offsets if that's what you want to do.
No, I'm not limiting it to that, no. I'm just saying, that'll include those offsets.
So the motion is to direct the solicitor
To draft a
said
resolution.
You got it.
Okay.
I just want the
Motion been
public
made.
to be aware that this
Discussion?
may not cost full 233, there's offsets here.
Motion been made by Counselor Paul, seconded by Counselor Perry. Discussion.
So, I'm not in agreement of that, of the possible offsets. I think like the administrator said, we probably got a pretty hefty bill that's gonna come in. I know we should be getting FEMA reimbursements, but I think we should hold on to that money to, pay for what we had to do for snow removal. I think if we're gonna purchase this, we just purchase this. Don't be taking money out of his account, his operation account, until we know what's coming in.
No, it is an operation.
No, this is the gaming allocation.
No, it's the
No,
gaming.
the spare money,
In a sense, it's semantics. There's money there that's unspent from previous allocations.
From casino money.
Capital expense.
Yeah,
So
it's not his budget.
every resolution that we pass from the capital fund has a provision in it that if
The
the,
casino fund.
I'm sorry, the 640, yes, the casino fund.
650.
I call it capital, but 650.
We have,
still
we
have
do have a
presentation.
I know
capital.
you do have a
yeah,
separate
yeah.
capital. Any money, the resolution that we write and you pass on the casino money very specifically notes that to the extent that the money that we allocate is not spent either because the equipment or whatever comes in lower, any underage goes into
Yes.
goes back to the fund. It's not allocated, it doesn't stay in DPW, it just
No.
goes back to the general fund of that account.
That's fine. I thought what they were reading off the computer there was money's not spent in his budget.
No.
But if that's not the case, then I'd rather just buy the machine and keep our monies where they are.
Counselor Burke.
So I just want to, no, I'm going to vote against it for the same reason that I said at the beginning. I think we need to stick to a plan for capital. If this is rises to the top, which it sounds like it should, as long as we have the money there, I don't think we're gonna spend everything we have left in casino gaming on the storm, but there may be a significant amount. And in talking with Dave last week, or last weekend, whenever I saw you, at the school building committee meeting, my understanding is FEMA may not reimburse us for snow removal because that doesn't match the federal definition of disaster. Some other expenses we might, so if you had to move a tree, we get that, but that's minimal compared to what we spent in the actual cost of removal. So that's the only reason I'll vote against this, and I know also that the school committee is gonna come back in with some big ticket requests as well, and we at least have to consider those. And so I guess my other point is, what happens if tomorrow 3 of your cruisers that aren't under warranty need to be replaced? You know, we're at the same
Most of our
piece.
cruisers are so new.
Yeah, well, maybe you were driving them though.
If I could just mention, we have 1.9 million unallocated in casino gaming, correct?
That's correct, sir. It's probably a little more.
And we're coming, well, now we're in the back half of the year.
Yeah, it's a little more.
Come July 1st, we unlock another 3.1 million.
Yeah.
And if
When
I
we
could,
have the
Mr.
next casino
President,
gaming
and,
meeting.
to speak to Councilor Burke's concern, I mean, the charter's clear when it comes to the gaming meeting, it should be held in October. So from a performative type of policy perspective, he's right.
Yeah.
And what we want to kind of continue
It's not the
to
charter, it was the-
stick with that. However, as I've instructed all the department heads, there's opportunities that come up. And like the director did his due diligence, this was an opportunity, it's on the lot. I know we've talked about like getting fire equipment with a 3-year lag. And I've already spoken to the director and all the department heads, is if they have an opportunity to get something, the worst that can happen, bring it in front of the council, make the play, the worst the council could say is no.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting waiting until October, because we do have money for this year
Yes, sir.
unallocated.
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying, let's have a meeting on what is the total request for that 1.9 or whatever $1 million, so we can make a decision, a sound decision based on all those requests.
Correct, sir. And to your point too, with the building committee, there was a promise that was made to the school committee to revisit this during the springtime as well.
Not a promise to give it to them, just to
Correct.
revisit it.
Promise to revisit.
Okay,
During the
just- I
spring.
wanna make that
No,
clear.
that's it. There was a promise that the conversation would come back.
All right, so motion's been made, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Counselor Janik?
The motion was to purchase.
To direct,
To do the
to direct
resolution.
the solicitor to create the resolution. So if you have a change of heart, we can vote against the resolution. Right, is that
Yeah,
fair?
that is,
I'm just curious as to, I don't know if he has a time frame to secure this. I mean, obviously, I would expect, things could change, but I would expect that if this motion passes, the same votes that approve the resolution would probably be there to approve the, the same votes that were there to ask me to write a resolution
You never
would
know.
would be there to pass the resolution.
So you work for the town of Tiverton?
something could change.
Well, yeah, all quotes are 30 days, and once those 30 days are up, we have to revisit it, so.
Right.
So
I
we
would,
have time, I guess.
yeah, so the director can make a telephone call to say that it is
Put it in the
pending the resolution approval at the next regular council meeting on the 23rd.
Okay. I just want to make that clear, that's all.
All right, the motion been made, seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Next item, as I mentioned earlier, we are moving this to next meeting for Pare Engineering to be present.
That is correct, sir.
Correct? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Director.
Thanks, Dave.
Next item is receipt of recommendation from Planning Board related to amending use tables, Article 4, District Use Regulation, Section 9F, to be amended to permit, quote, veterinary office or animal hospital, end quote, as a permitted use in the W2 district, and request to advertise the proposed amendment for a public hearing. Okay. Second, okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Next item is discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2026-0006 in support of House 7298 relating to tax classification in the town of Tiverton. Mr.
Sorry to interrupt.
Assessor.
I know it should be a simple vote to pass this resolution, but prior to the meeting, Councilor Burke had asked me a question regarding this, and I misspoke. Solicitor Marcello and I, we've reached out to Rep. Edwards to make some amendments to some of the other bills that's being presented. This one, we have not. Council Burke's issue was allowing the Tiverton tax assessor to set the tax rate. He felt like it should be the town council. It really is the town council. This is just me applying the tax rate that is determined by the town council. So I'm not choosing a tax rate at all. I just want to make that clarification for Council Burke. And in truth, no one actually technically sets that tax rate. The town council votes on the budget. There's a levy that's voted upon the town council. I have a value, simple math, that comes with the tax rate. All this is going to do is just set up that tax rate, and then because of its classification, the town council will be the authority to determine if there's going to be a different percentage for a different class of property.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So, a question for Solicitor. Is that how you read that, Mike?
That's not how I read it.
And there are,
Because there are two different kinds of statutes in there. One example is Providence, where it's the city and the council, and one example is, another example, there's several like this, is Cumberland, which is written the same way that this bill is written, which gives, it looks like it gives the authority, and I hear what you're saying, but it looks like it gives the authority to the tax assessor.
That's what it looks like.
yeah, some of them are written in exactly this way, and some are written a little bit differently.
It says, will allow the tax assessor to set rate.
Bear in mind, this is just a resolution in support of the legislation.
Right,
Which-
but I'm not going to vote on a resolution that supports legislation that I think puts us in the wrong direction.
Okay. And this is one of the bills that the assessor did catch an error on. This is the delete applicable tax, applicable state rate bill, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, we modified that.
Yeah, which they would do. They'd sub it.
Support.
So, I don't read it as the assessor having the ability to set the tax rate. The assessor has the ability to establish 4 classes of properties. But the assessor town shall annually prepare a list containing the full and fair valuation of each property within the town and percentage of the tax levy to be apportioned to each property. That's happens now. And the assessor has the authority to apply different rates of taxation against all classes. Once you determine what the tax rate is, you'll also determine what those rates are between the different classifications. So I do not read this as giving the assessor the authority to set the tax rate. Could it be clearer? Yes, but I don't think that's the intent, nor the language would permit that. And neither does the tax assessor have the authority to set a tax rate. It's only after the budget is approved, the assessment list is certified, and then you apply the value of the property to the expenditures.
That's why I asked.
Yep. Sorry about that. We talked about the other one that we did fix, correct, yeah. This was, I did not have a problem with this bill.
Okay. Motion to approve the resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2026-0007 in support of House 8181 relating to state affairs and government, Rhode Island Bridge replacement, reconstruction, maintenance, exemption from tolling for waste management vehicles. This is a new one. The representative did not bring this up. This actually came out of a discussion I had with him separate to this, but effectively, this bill, if passed, would exempt every single municipal waste, packer, trash truck, whatever, from the truck tolls in light of the Supreme Court's ruling that all trucks must be taxed at the exact same rate. So effectively creates a mechanism to reimburse the towns for a regressive tax that the state would be putting on everyone here.
We've talked about this, though.
Yeah, we did. Move approval.
All right, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2026-0008 in support of House 8029 relating to taxation, collection of taxes generally. Any
This
discussion
is
or?
the mobile home one.
Yes,
Yes.
for overdue taxes. Move approval.
All right, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2026-0009 in support of House 8025 relating to taxation, property subject to taxation. I'm whipping through the backup super fast here. No.
This is the one with the 65.
This is for, yeah, for people over 60.
So, Mr. President,
Yes.
my biggest concern with this, and I know we talked about it, and I can't remember the details, I believe it should have an income-based exemption, not just flat age-based. Because hopefully someday, I don't think I will, have enough money to not have to think about this, but hopefully someday I will. When I hit that Powerball, I should have to pay the taxes.
So this is about you?
Yeah, and you, because I want you to hit the mega millions.
I work hard for my money.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Opposed.
Okay, opposed, yep. Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2026-0010 in support of House 8026 relating to taxation, Tiverton tax credits for disabled veterans. Motion approval, seconded by Councilor Perry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Mr. Administrator, if you wouldn't mind telling us about Town Hall, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. So those of us who have been in Town Hall now that, fortunately, we're not going to get any more snow, work will be proceeding. The carpeting was going to go in today. Unfortunately, that was delayed, given the final sign-offs by the building official and the engineer involved with the job. But the columns are removed. The floor has been abated. I'm waiting for the carpeting to go in, and I've been told it's not going to be that long, the next couple of weeks. And then we're going to reopen the front of Town Hall, so this way people do not get confused, given just with the construction. And I think with that, once we reopen the front of Town Hall while the council table is being built, I think we're definitely in a good space moving forward. So I want to be able to get the meetings back into Town Hall as a priority. We've also spoken with our recording about setting up a table in the back, so it's permanent, so they don't have to pack up their gear every time they come and go to the meetings. There'll be an area specifically designated for our audiovisual folks so that they can plug and play. So I would recommend to the council that we just make this part of our normal agendas so I can continue to update you and the public.
Perfect. And then one day you guys will turn on the meetings at home and see that we're in a different place and it'll look different. It'll be great.
Yes, sir.
I hope. All right, so Councilor Camino.
So, I appreciate what we're doing at the town hall, but I gotta say I'm a little disappointed in our contractor. I don't think he's hit the expectation of the work that's supposed to be done there, and the timeline that's supposed to be done there. I was there today, I was looking up in the ceiling. I've been in construction for a long time. I have a basic understanding of it, and I'm looking at two columns that are remaining in the rear and how they're being supported, and I'm just looking at it saying, boy, this doesn't look right, right? So, I'm just disappointed. I'll leave it at that in the construction and what's taking place there. I think, personally, I think that our contractor's in over his head, and I'll just leave it at that. I'm disappointed, and hopefully, any more renovations go back out to bid or do something, because I think the quality of some of the work that took place there isn't up to the standards it should be.
I'll make your concerns known, sir.
Okay, next up is Administrator Jones. You are looking for permission to apply for some federal dollars.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. So it is that time, so just to be clear, the federal congressional earmark appropriations are the ones that go into the federal fiscal budget. These are matching awards, or they encourage matching awards. These are the same type of awards that we've received in the past for police cruisers, USDA, not USDA, police cruisers. The fireboat was the last round. What I am recommending, or what I will, because I spoke in front of the school committee, I'm going to put in for, if you approve for me to do this, a $4 million grant. With that $4 million, what I am proposing to do with the high school and our emergency management is move the shelter that is currently located at the middle school to the high school. And as part of those renovations and that is like we talked about during our meeting post-storm, the funding for this would assist us in renovating the auditorium, establishing a kitchen, buying a generator, and any other costs and expenses that we would need. With the $4 million kind of price tag, what I'm hoping is that we would be able to utilize, and with these grants, they go over a timeframe of 3 years. So we wouldn't have to just allocate the whole amount in one fiscal cycle, or if we decided to use gaming, we could break it up over 2 gaming cycles, and by partnering with the school, that opens up potential ride money. So with all of that, I'm hoping to get the best bang for our buck. But like I've said before, like the lottery, you can't win if you don't play. So I'm hoping that I've been told by our congressional partners that be greedy. So that is what I'm doing with your permission. And these are due by Friday. So I plan on having it submitted by Friday.
This is just, you're looking for permission. Do you need a vote?
Just a vote. Thank you.
Motion to give the town administrator permission to apply for the federal earmark.
Do we have a second? Motion been made, seconded by Counselor Perry. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Go get that money. Next item on the agenda is discussion related to potential ordinance to permit family burial plots and instruction to the town solicitor. Mr. Solicitor, obviously this came in as a request, and
It did. It did. It just so happens that at the time it came in, there were 2 communities, one being my hometown of Situate, that was passing an ordinance, so we just attached that, I think. And then I think there's another one from another community that we also attached. It was at Charlestown. So I don't think I don't think it's ready to be passed tonight, well, it can't be passed tonight, but I don't think we have, what I'd like to do is sit down with the planner, if you guys are even interested in pursuing this and going through it. I just didn't want to waste any time if there's really no support for this whatsoever. So, again, much like we just did with the resolution on the loader, just kind of looking for some guidance on that. I don't think as the attachments need to be, I think we find need to be Tivertonized, if you use that term, if you guys are interested in it, but if you're not, then I don't want to waste your time.
I mean, I'm in support of it. I feel as though people have the right to their property, do whatever they want with their property, it's their property. But I would like to have, like, the historical cemetery people, our regular people involved in having their say and their input.
Maybe we can set up a meeting with them if it's...
Right, I just think it's important, and again, I think people should have the right to do what they want with their property.
Counselor Janik.
I think that the speaker who spoke tonight, and she was from Historical Cemeteries, I believe, she did bring up a lot of information that was a little concerning to me, so I think they definitely would need to weigh in.
Counselor Burke.
I would disagree. I think, yes, people have the right to do things with their property, but there are zoning ordinances and other things like that that do restrict certain aspects of it, for good reason. And I think I agree with the introductory statements of the woman from the Historical Cemetery Commission in that this was a way of doing things in the past, but not necessarily how to do it today. And she raised some of the same questions that I had, what happens when the property turns over? Is there a perpetual maintenance fund that's tied into it? And I don't want you.
I go with my property. Take the good and the bad.
And what are the fines, if any, for not maintaining it? And is there a minimum lot size? Those are just some of the questions. So at this point, I couldn't support this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Mike, and I think that's why I think we need them involved to maybe come up with some plans on how do we maintain it, how do we give access for the future or anything. So that's why I think they need to be involved.
Counselor DiMederos, and then I have thought.
Yeah, I just have concerns about this, and I also think of, like, Craig, if you're buried in your backyard, who's gonna wanna buy your property afterwards? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just have a problem with that, and I think, and the maintaining of it, and make sure that nothing's done over that, but I don't know. I just don't really agree with it.
So, I would just say. So I would just say, I mean, listen, we have two other communities that put these ordinances forward. It sounds like there would be some tweaks on our side. It's at least worth having the discussion, and maybe we can circulate these to the Historical Cemeteries Commission, because it's very clearly they would like to have some input. And if there are things that need to go in the ordinance, as you mentioned about perpetual maintenance fund, maybe it's something that we allow in certain zones by special permit, provided you have some sort of a fund that's gonna pay for maintenance for all of eternity. So, I just don't wanna close the door on not hearing our options first, is my thought process. And if the council's open, do you need, Mr. Solicitor, do you just need consensus? Or do you wanna vote? What do you want?
That's fine. Yeah, I prefer votes just so we have an idea where we're at and some of the concerns.
All right, so Counselor Comito would like to instruct, Counselor Burke says no, Counselor Janik, you say no, Counselor DiMedeiros is a no. I'm okay with giving you instructions. Counselor Paul, do you want to give the solicitor some instructions?
No,
No? Okay.
maybe sometimes.
Counselor Perry, it effectively doesn't matter, so.
So I think it's dead.
So there it is.
Dead.
Oddly enough, we're talking about personal cemeteries. Okay, next item on the agenda is Administrator Jones. Actually gonna take these should have been out of order, so 1, 2, 3. We have no executive session.
Correct, sir. Because
Are
there's,
these evaluations?
no, these are existing contractual pay
Okay,
increases.
that's what I was gonna ask.
All right, so Administrator Jones, discussion and possible vote to ratify the proposed fiscal impact statement to the existing contract for DPW Director Silvia effective 1/14/2026. Counselor DiMedeiros.
Wait a minute, I just wanna, in the budget, it's not that salary, so, in the budget, it's 90.
That is correct.
And
That's
we.
correct.
All right, so you're gonna get that from where?
Correct.
So where are you gonna get the difference
Either
from?
council contingency or I'll work it out. I'll talk to
Okay,
the treasurer.
all right, because I know, that's why I was asking, and I know, but it's not budgeted for this
It is
year.
not. If you look at most of the department heads, all
The
of them.
other two, I think you were all set with, to tell you the truth. David, you were, and the zoning, you were too.
David, the tax assessor, you are correct, ma'am. But not the zoning official.
It was almost right there, though.
It is close,
Okay.
correct. The only increase would be to the director, because this is his 6-month raise.
Yeah, oh, no, that's fine, it wasn't budgeted, okay.
Mr. President, unless there's objection, can I suggest to Counselor Perry that his motion be to approve N, O, and P together?
All of them?
Counselor Perry did, we do not have a second yet. Counsel.
You want to amend it to NOP? I'll second that.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Counselor Comito.
Do we do evaluations,
Yes,
or is this, so they've already been done?
correct. And this is part of their built-in contractual pay increases.
Do we get notified of their evaluations, or?
Oh, yeah.
we do.
In executive,
Correct,
That's
We
why I
haven't
looked for
yet,
exec.
correct?
correct,
right.
correct.
But we will be,
When they're up and they're due for their evaluation,
okay,
correct,
but it's not.
correct. And they're
You've
usually
never
annual.
seen one yet?
I have, but I was just asking because we're giving pay raises and I didn't see an evaluation. I'm not sure when they're due or when they're,
Correct,
so it's coming soon.
correct.
But this is what we hired this gentleman
Correct.
for.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, I just.
No, I understand what you're saying, Counselor. I understand what you're
No,
saying.
to make
Right.
it clearer,
Right.
when we put out for the ad, we decided to increase the salary.
We ratified his contract with this pay increase in mind, or when we hired.
To get somebody that
So
really was
that,
qualified.
so I don't understand why we're doing this again if we already ratified it with the pay increase. I mean,
It's done- yeah,
Because I
just-
recommend, and it's subject to council approval.
Yes, so it's fiscal.
Okay. Council hasn't approved yet.
Sorry.
All those in favor? Now the council has approved. Next item on the agenda Just a note, I've corresponded with, I guess now former chair, we did all three in one shot. Now former charter review chair, just because the charter reviews committee is essentially done.
So much.
And he had suggested that Saturday, March 21st would be acceptable for the majority of his former committee's members to be present to have our discussion on the charter review commission, so.
I may not be able to be there. I have another commitment, but I'll try to change it.
It's a Saturday morning, that's all they
What
would
time?
give me.
What time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
The parade is, yeah,
I'll try to change it.
that's what I said.
Is that St. Patrick?
No, the parade is actually on this coming
Oh,
Saturday.
okay.
Last item, Counselor, or
can't forget
Counselor,
about me.
Clerk, Madam Clerk, you have an announcement to make.
Yes. This Saturday, the 14th, there's a low-cost rabies clinic at Sandy Woods from 10 to 1. It was organized by the Animal Control Officer, Santini, and we will be there, the clerk's office will be there to also do the licensing, collect any license applications
Perfect.
for dog licenses. So just want to make everybody aware, it's $10 per animal. It's dogs and cats and ferrets. So please bring them in, the cats and ferrets.
Ferrets, all right.
Marmots, if you
Please
will.
I thought you said parrots, and I'm
No
like,
parrots.
yeah, I don't think so.
But bring your cats and ferrets in carriers.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn by Counselor DiMadeira, seconded by Counselor Perry. All those in favor? We are now adjourned.